Former CIA intel officer Buck Sexton says Hunter's fate has less to do with the evidence and more to do with his father's ability to hold on to power. Listen.
We've been hearing about Hunter Biden for a long time, but a corrupt system doesn't care how clear the evidence is or how bright line the violations are of law. This is about politics and power, and so the Democrats are going to make sure the system protects those who are important to it. The question is really, can Hunter Biden be considered somebody that is above the law based on the need for Biden?
Yeah.
If you look at Biden's recent polling, people are asking a lot of questions about the Bidens in general.
With that, let us bring in House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer. Congressman Comer, great to have you as always. Look, your big day is tomorrow. All eyes on that press conference. Can you give us a little hint as to what you're going to tell us?
Yeah, we're going to present the American people with the facts about what the Biden family has been doing. One thing we learned when we had access to the Treasury suspicious activity reports is that the Bidens had created many LLCs in many different bank accounts, and there were many Biden families that were in on the influence peddling scheme. So we're going to present bank records tomorrow. We're going to also talk about the different people that they were taking money from, their ties to foreign nationals in some of the worst countries on the planet. And I think the American people are going to have a lot of questions for Joe Biden. We'll see if the mainstream media has questions for Joe Biden.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But are you saying that if the DOJ waits to indict Hunter until you release this information, that there's possible other Biden family members or people tied to this that may be indicted as well?
Well, I think the Department of Justice would have a lot of questions for some of these Biden family members as to why they received wire transfers from entities linked to the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, these family members don't have any business experience. It doesn't appear to me that any of the businesses that they were laundering money through are even legitimate businesses. And we just have a lot of questions for the Bidens. But from every report we've read with respect to the DOJ investigation of Hunter Biden, it's focused on the president's son not paying taxes for a couple of years and lying on a gun application. I mean, that is a drop in the bucket to what we've found on Hunter Biden. And I don't know if the Department of Justice is aware of all the different LLCs and all the different schemes in all the different countries that we are aware of. And we're going to present those facts to the American people tomorrow. So you can't have a credible case against the president's son and just indict him for not paying taxes for a couple of years. I mean, this is an individual who probably could get indicted for money laundering, who could get indicted for possible racketeering, who could get indicted for not being a registered foreign agent, and the list goes on and on and on. So we hope that the Department of Justice will sit down tomorrow and watch our press conference and read our memo. We're presenting a memo to the American people, to the media. It's going to be on our website, to the American people, to see the exact transactions, the exact countries, and some of the family members that were involved in this influence peddling scheme, and really see some names of some of these people in these other countries that have been convicted in other countries of crimes. I mean, they were dealing with very bad actors in some very bad countries.
Understood. And this is the reason that you have asked the DOJ to hold off on any potential indictment until you do release this information tomorrow. But I know Ashley and I were wondering, and I've had a few people reach out to me, why is James Comer waiting until Wednesday? Why, if he's worried about the DOJ charging, let's say today or let's say yesterday, why is he waiting until Wednesday to release this information? What's your response to that?
We weren't in session yesterday on Monday. Today, Tuesday, the speaker is meeting with the president on the debt ceiling. I'm also going to have the opportunity to meet with my committee members and brief them, get them up to date, because we got more information in at the end of last week. And it takes a long time to go through these bank records. No one else is investigating the Biden family like we are. We're actually going through bank records. We have discovered all the different Biden family members. We on the Oversight Committee, we have discovered all these LLCs that were hidden. We are trying to unravel this web that the Biden family created to try to disguise the sender of these payments and deceive the IRS on the amount of revenue that they were getting. So this is taking a long time. But look, I haven't had subpoena power 100 days, and we've uncovered more than I think any congressional committee's ever uncovered. Normally, you're working with the media on stuff like this, but we're on our own. We're having to fight the mainstream media. But I think what we're going to be able to present to the American people tomorrow will be astonishing. It's stuff that we've been talking about for a long time, but actually going to present it in form so people can actually see the bank statements and the bank wires and get an idea of the dollar amount that we're talking about. That's another thing that's never been reported. We've already disclosed $1.3 million from China that was wired directly into 3 or 4 Biden family members' names. That number is going to be a whole lot higher tomorrow morning.
Yeah, there's no doubt that as soon as you guys took control, you hit the ground running with this investigation. So hats off to the committee for that. But we have to get to this. Tomorrow is also the deadline for the FBI to provide documents to your committee relating to an alleged bribery scandal involving then Vice President Joe Biden. Do you think they're going to comply by that deadline?
Well, I sure hope so. They need to be scratching their head wondering what we know. We want to know what they know. This whistleblower is very credible. And this is the key to this whole thing. What the whistleblower is alleging is consistent with what we've discovered from these bank records and these bank violations, that the Biden family is receiving millions and millions of dollars from adversaries around the world. And we want to know what exactly these Biden family members have done to provide a return on the investment for these bad actors around the world. We believe that it's policy that Joe Biden has passed when he was vice president and while he's president now. So this is why we're investigating the Biden family. We're concerned that this White House is compromised, that this president is compromised, and that our national security is compromised because of the millions of dollars that our adversaries have wired the president's family over the past 5 years.
Here's what the White House is saying about it. Spokesperson pushing back on the allegations. Quote, Republicans in Congress have been lobbing unfounded, unproven, politically motivated attacks against the president and his family without offering evidence. That's because they prefer floating anonymous innuendo amplified by the megaphone of their allies in right-wing media to get attention. Boy, it seems like tomorrow you're going to provide a lot of evidence, Congressman.
Tomorrow's going to be a bad day for the White House. And it's going to be interesting to see what Joe Biden has to say. He lied about the laptop. He lied about his knowledge of his family's shady business dealings. He lied about his involvement in his family's shady business dealings. He lies when he says his son has done nothing wrong. So it's going to be Judgment Day tomorrow for the White House. And it'll be very interesting when they see evidence, because the White House and the American people are used to a lot of congressional investigations that never provide any evidence. Or that have evidence like the Steele dossier with respect to Adam Schiff and Jamie Raskins that we later learned was completely false. You can't lie on bank records. And one thing that all the different banks that we dealt with have said is that this family was involved in money laundering schemes. So these are some very serious charges, and any other American family would have already been indicted and probably gone to prison for some of the things that the Biden family's done. So tomorrow's going to be Judgment Day, and it'll be very interesting to see what Jean-Pierre and the little Ian Sams has to say when they're presented with evidence.
It'll also be interesting to see if the quote-unquote nonpartisan FBI fights your subpoena request and how they fight it. Let's leave it here. Welcome to Comer Week in Washington, D.C. Thanks for getting up a couple hours earlier to preview it all with us. We appreciate it. Congressman James Comer.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.